to the Factory Studio Gen AI. We are going to start. Maybe some others will join us in the meantime, but we want to be respectful with the ones who are here as well. So we are gonna start with the presentation. I'm gonna do just a quick introduction in a commercial way about CloudHesive and our partnership with AWS. Later on, Tomas and Juan Diego, our solution architects and specialized certified in data and generative AI, are gonna take part of the Factory Studio. So if you wanna go to the next slide. CloudHesive is a company, a premier partner from AWS. That's something that we are proud, and that at the same time is something that demands us effort and responsibility, because it's the highest tier you can achieve for partners in AWS. So that's make us be very focused and trained and certified in the last tendencies or technologies that AWS launched to the market. So CloudHesive, it's a company that was origin from AWS, from USA, and now we have offices in Argentina, Chile, and Colombia, and operations all around the Americas, focus in the Americas. We have some customers in Bahamas, in Jamaica, and we really work closely with AWS in incentives and trying to launch new business and help new customers adopt the cloud in the Americas. If you want to go to the next. Here are, as I told you before, being a premier partner from AWS is something that it's not really easy to achieve. So you have to get some, your team certified in the last tendencies or the last specialties that AWS launched to the market. Like in this case, we're going to see generative AI. We have more than 8 competencies, so we can support you from end-to-end business in AWS. Next one, Tom. Just some of our partners as well that we work with, Datadog, New Relic. I think you may know some of them. It's everything that we want to give you is a strong network in AWS, so that's why we have partnerships with other customers that make our service more reliable and confident for customers. And this is kind of some of our services, but I just don't want to take more time about this. We are a consultancy company, so we are just premier partner from AWS, so we can support your business end to end with regards to AWS cloud. But we just give the voice to Tommy and Diego, who are gonna drive you through our journey today. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, Ignacio, for that kind of introduction. But let me start with me. Let me introduce myself. I'm Tom Lorenzi. I work at CloudHesive as a data specialist, and with me also is Diego, who works as a solution architect at AWS. Diego, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure, Thomas. Hi, everybody. I'm Diego Riveros. I'm a solution architect at AWS. Just to talk about a little bit of what is a solution architect and what we do in AWS as solution architect. We are generalists, which means that we know AWS services, all the 200 plus AWS services, at a level that is 100 to 200 level. And after that, we need to specialize in a topic. In this case, my specialization is on serverless. I'm a fan of serverless, or all the things about event-driven architectures, solutions, etc. And that's it. Thank you for being here.
Okay, thank you, Dio, for the introduction about you. Well, we say that we are ready to start with the agenda. Here's the agenda for our session. Firstly, we will start with the basics of generative AI in the first part, in the fundamentals of generative AI, exploring what is and how it works. Then we will discuss how to customize the foundational AI models to fit specific needs and application. Then in the chapter 3, on the part 3, in Amazon Bedrock, Diego will introduce you into Amazon Bedrock, explaining how it works, how its features and the costs. Then I will show you in the fourth part, I will show you how to create and manage chatbots using Amazon Bedrock and other services from AWS. And finally, we'll open the floor for question and answers, giving you a chance to ask anything about we covered. Obviously, along the presentation, you can ask any doubt that you have, and in this final section, we responded. Also, we have a team in the chat to answer the question. So don't hesitate if you have any doubt at the moment. Please write at the chat, and our team answer you immediately. So saying that, we are ready to start with the first part. But first, let's reflect on this powerful statement from Economic World Forum in 2024, and it says, the fourth industrial revolution is underway, driven by generative AI. So what it means? This means that generative AI is playing a huge role in changing the industries all over the world. And it's helping to create a new area of technology, improving the innovation. So in conclusion, generative AI is not just a trend for the moment, it's a big change that is shaping our future and how we're going to work in the next years. So now we need to talk about how we can integrate this generative AI in the significant business value. And as you can see on this slide, there are 4 key areas where generative AI can make an impact. The first one is new experiences. Generative AI enables the creation of innovate for your customers and employees, and it opens up new possibility for user experience. Then the productivity. By leveraging generative AI, businesses can radically improve productivity across all lines of business. Okay, so AI can automate tasks, allowing your team to focus only on more strategic activities. Then we have the insight. The generative AI can extract insights and provide clear answers from all your corporate information, and this capability enable faster and better decision making, as you can quickly access and interpret valuable data. Finally, with the creativity, generative AI fosters creativity by enable the creation of new content and ideas, and this includes generating conversation, stories, image, videos, and even music, improving creative expression and innovation. I mean improving creative innovation and expressions. Well, we are talking about the generative AI, but firstly we need to know what is the artificial intelligence. And the question to kick this is, what is the artificial intelligence, or what is the AI? So the AI is the study of making machines mimic human behaviors, or mimic human thinking. Okay, this means creating systems that can do things like recognize speech, make decisions, or translate languages. Then the AI system can learn and act on their own, and so they learn from the data, then adapt to a new information and perform tasks without to be programmed by every step by step. Then the AI uses algorithms to solve problems. So these are methods that can help machines processes to find patterns and come up with new solutions. So then, inside that, we are ready to know what is the generative AI, because before I explain what is the AI, so now we are ready to know what is the generative AI. Basically, the generative AI is a subset of the artificial intelligence that replicates learned patterns from vast amounts of data. These foundational models can be pre-trained on extensive data sets and adapted for several tasks, such as text generation, image creation, and other activities. The generative AI is based on foundational models, and then I'm going to explain you what types of foundational models that we can find it. So, recap again when I mentioned the generative AI is a subset from the AI, from the artificial intelligence, but behind the artificial intelligence, we can discover other subsets that I will explain you now. The first one, and at the broadest level, is the artificial intelligence. The AI includes algorithms that try to mimic the human behavior. Okay. Then we can find the subset machine learning. It's a subset of AI. The machine learning involves algorithms that learn from limited data. Then we can find the deep learning. It's another subset, but in this case, it's a subset of machine learning. Deep learning uses neural networks to process the large volumes of data. And finally, the generative AI falls under deep learning, where with this you can generate new content based on the data it was training on. Okay, because it's you can make this generative AI with a lot of data that I mentioned before. So we already know what types of AI we can find in the subsets. Okay, I mentioned the machine learning, I mentioned the deep learning, I mentioned the generative AI. But now we are ready to breaking down the types of AI and understand how it works deeply. So, the machine learning. Machine learning uses simple inputs and then processes simple outputs. So this type of AI is good for a straightforward task, for simple tasks. Then we can find the deep learning, where it handles more complex inputs, but still produces simple outputs using neural networks. And finally, we have the generative AI, the Gen AI, where it takes complex inputs and produces complex outputs, creating a new content based obviously on the data it was training on. So, being said that, we are ready to understand what type of foundational models we can find. The first one, is the simple, is the text-to-text, where you can generate text from the natural language instruction. For example, you give a text input like summarizes articles on her health, focusing on the impact of walking, and the model then generates a related text. For example, this 10,000 steps per day are optimal for maintaining a healthy heart. So in this part, the foundational model take that prompt, and then I will show you what is a prompt. But let me take that word. So the prompt is summarize this article on health focusing on the impact of walking, and then with that text, the foundational model interpret that message, that command, and then it give us the output with the correct answer. Then we have the foundational model text to embeddings, where you can generate a numerical representation of the text. For example, in this case, you provide a text such as cola soda, and the model generates a numerical representation of the text, which helps in understanding and categorizing the information. And the last one, we have in my opinion, the most popular foundational model type. This case is multimodal, where you can create and edit image using natural language commands. and in this example, you provide you provide a text like this, image of a cheerful cloud, and the model then can create already the image based on natural language, and then give us this image of a cloud cheerful, okay, of a cheerful cloud. Obviously, people, if you have any doubts about this topic, about the foundational model, the deep learning, or the all things that I'm talking, please don't hesitate in ask by chat. We have a team behind the chat to answer you, so don't hesitate. Then, do you know or do you remember that I mentioned before the prompt when I said the text that you take to the generative AI? Well, now we're going to understand what is a prompt, how it works into the generative AI. Basically, a prompt is essentially the input that we give you to the foundational model to get a specific output. Think of it as asking to the model a question or giving it a command, okay? And here are some examples that can illustrate this mechanic. So, for example, the prompt is, how many times is AI mentioned in this presentation? So then the foundational models processes the text of the presentation and give us the answer. It is mentioned 23 times, okay? I'm here in this first part, see? Where we can find this answer, it's mentioned 23 times. And what's happened behind the scenes? In this case, the model reads through the text of the presentation, counts the occurrence of the term AI, and then provide us the answer with this 23 times it appears the AI into the presentation. So the second example is, what does one wall say to the other wall? Then the foundational model uses the understanding of language and common expression and answer us, and the answer is, see you at the corner. Obviously, this is a joke, but in this case, the model interprets the prompt as a joke and delivers an appropriate punchline, an appropriate schema. Then, in the third example, you can see the prompt is only product number 5. So the foundational model looks up the information related to this product, and the answer is the model could be provided a numeric presentation, description, or other relevant details based on training, right? So in conclusion, a prompt is crucial because they give the model to produce the desired output. With the prompt, you decide what you need from the generative AI, from the model, from the foundational model. Okay, well, now let's talk about the retrieval augmented generation, or maybe we can call RAG. This process involves 3 main steps. The first one is retrieval. The model retrieves relevant content from external knowledge bases or data sources based on a user query. This means it looks for the information needed to answer the questions or for fulfill the request. Then, sorry, I don't continue with the slide. Now it is now we have the argumentation. Sorry, I think I have someone unmuting.
No, I unmuted.
Okay, no problem. So recap: we are in the argumentation. The argumentation is the retrieved information when it's included in the user message. This added context serves as input to the foundational model, helping it understand to the query better. Okay, and finally the generation, where the foundational models generates a response based on argument message, And this means the answer or output is created using both the original query and the additional information retrieved, basically the RAG. So using the RAG, we can improve the accuracy and relevance of the responses generated by AI models. Basically, with the RAG, you are making them more useful and better. So, finally, with the third part of the agenda that I mentioned before, we are in the second part. We are in the customizing foundational models, and here we have several methods where you can customize your model, each with different levels of customization, complexity, and cost. And the first one is the prompt engineer. The prompt engineering. This is the simplest and least expensive method. It involves carefully crafting the prompts we use to get the best responses from the model, and it's a quick way to improve performance without changing the model itself. Then we have the RAG, the retrieval augmented generation, and as we discussed before, the RAG retrieves relevant information to add context to the model's responses, and this method offers more customization and improves the accuracy without significant cost increases. Then we find the fine-tuning. This method involves adjusting the model with additional training on specific data sets, and the fine-tuning allows the model to better understand particular domains, providing more accurate and relevant outputs. Obviously, it's more complex and costly than prompt engineering and RAG, but offer greater customization. And finally, we have the task to continue pretaining. It's the most advanced and costly option. It makes the model much better for a specific task or industry, but needs a lot of compute power, and you need to know a lot of knowledge. You need to know a lot of business uses and expertise about that use cases. And as you can see in this slide, each method varies in terms of customization, complexity, and cost, and depending on your needs, your resources, and your knowledge, you should use or you can choose the approach that best fits for your goals. So now it's time to Diego. Diego, would you like to continue with Amazon Bedrock?
Yes, thank you, Thomas. I'm going to share the screen. 1 second. Can you see it?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Okay, perfect. So, hi again. Thank you for your time being here. I hope that you are having fun and learning with all the things that Thomas just explained us. Just a reminder, if you have any type of question or something that you would like to ask, you can put it on the chat. We have different solution architects and people that can answer to all the questions that you may have. So we're going to talk about everything that Thomas just explained us about RAG and all these things, but how to use it in Amazon Bedrock.
Sí, no está en vivo, estoy
Why
grabando.
Amazon Bedrock and Amazon Bedrock for you use is going to be the easiest way to build and scale generative AI application with foundational models. And we have different features that you can use to use Amazon Bedrock. And the first one is that it's fully managed. It's serverless in a way that you don't need to manage the infrastructure. It will scale out and in depending of the necessities that you have. And the first is that you will have a broad shelf of models. I'm going to explain the different models through a single API. So what does it mean? It means that you're going only to consume an API, only one API, but you can select the model that you want to use. Also, you can do a customized model. So you can take the model, customize it privately with your data. So with everything that Thomas just explained about the fine tuning or using retrieval augmented generation, that is the RAG. And this is so important because, well, this is important to for your use case because normally what happens with the language models is that it trains with a huge amount of data, but it's not data that is for your use case or for your knowledge about your clients. So you can use this data to customize or to use the RAG to use it as an advantage. Also, the thing is that well, when I say we, AWS don't use your data to train any models that you're using. So your data is your differentiator and is yours. So talking about the first part that was mentioned about having these virtual models, we have A1, 21 Labs, Anthropic, Cohere, Meta, and Stability AI, as well as Amazon Titan models. Everything choose just one API. And this is something that most of our customers have told us that is is better. Well, is how easy it makes to experiment all this model through just Amazon Bedrock. So this is something that you can use it as an advantage, where in this world it's just like moving really fast. Uh, Generative AI is evolving quickly. You have seen that every day there is something that you know notice or something that tell you, hey, we have created this new model with these new specifications, more faster answers, and etc. So this is the most value tool that you can adapt and experiment with just one API. But the next question that you should ask yourself is how you can decide which model is the best for your use case. And here it's important to evaluate and decide what are the attributes that you're going to use to evaluate this model. So, for example, having cost, precision, and velocity in this case. Then the next step for this evaluation process is to prioritize these attributes. So, for example, cost is the top priority. Then we have precision, and finally we have a speed, but with no priority. Uh, After this, you're going to create your prompts, the part that Thomas explained you, these instructions that you're going to set the different models that you have selected. And with that data, you're going to check what is the speed, what is the precision, and what is the cost. Now, the next step is that with this data, you're going to say, okay, which is the model that is the one that is going to solve my use case. In this part is going to be the foundational model number two because it's the lower cost, has a precision, and the speed is not a factor that affect us. But the idea is to know what are the attributes, what are the values, and how we're going to use it. Now, after this, uh, you might wondering, okay, I need to do all this. How I can do this more efficiently? And one way to do it is we can use the model evaluation in Amazon Bedrock. That you have different tools that you can use to to know what is the trade-off of the accuracy, latency, and the cost that we were mentioning before. So, for example, we can use the automatic model evaluation, where we going to set a create data set to these different models with metrics predefined for accuracy, robustness, and toxicity, for example. And with that data, it's going to select that model. Also, we have two options for the human evaluation. The first one is that you can use your own team in you go to the console of AWS, you go to Amazon Bedrock, and you can in just that work in that console you can create a human evaluation workflow where you're going to say to the team, hey, send these prompts, check the answers, and based on this, select what is the model. And finally, the third part that is also with human evaluation is that if you don't have the resources, for example, the time or the experts, you can't use the AWS managed team to perform that part of the evaluation where AWS hires a expert on this and well, it manage the end-to-end workflow of these tests on your behalf. The next part is Thomas explained about the RAG, how RAG can be used to use this data for all the answers. And I mentioned at the beginning the part that you can use RAG to put the data of your business. So this is a way to don't need to train the model, but to get the information of your data and have an answer that fits more your use case. What happened with knowledge bases and why I mentioned knowledge bases for Amazon Better is that with this you don't need to configure all these steps. So at the end, knowledge bases for Amazon Bedrock is going to manage all these end-to-end workflow of the rack for you, eliminating all the necessities of writing custom code for these integrations. So at the end of the day, or in other words, is that knowledge bases for Amazon Bedrock is going to fully manage all these rack capabilities for you. Also, you all the portfolio that accepts vector databases for knowledge bases is increasing. So we're going to have more and more services integrated with knowledge bases. This gives you flexibility, so you can choose, for example, Amazon OpenSearch Services, Amazon OpenSearch Serverless, Amazon Aurora PostgreSQL, Amazon Neptune, and all these services that, depending of the needs and your experience, you can use it in the rack or in the knowledge bases for Amazon Metro. The next topic I want to talk is about security. Security is our top priority on AWS, and Amazon Bedrock is built on enterprise-grade features that you can use that makes Amazon Bedrock secure. So all this data that is in transit in REST is encrypted. All the data that you put to train the foundational model, so you put it on this knowledge basis, is secure, is yours. The data is your differentiator, so it's yours. And if you want to know like a little bit more, what we do is that we make a copy of the foundational model, put it in your VPC, and in that VPC, you're the only one that it gets access to that foundational model to train with the data that you need. So that data is yours and exists only in your account where you put it on the region. Finally, Amazon Bedrock is HIPAA eligible, and we have other compliances that you can have access with Amazon Bedrock. Just to wrap up all of the things that we talk about Amazon Bedrock and how you can consume it, we have two options. The first one is on demand, that is a pay as you go, not committed. This is perfect for prototypes, POC, or small workloads that are not latency sensitive. So you can use it to test, to know how are the answers, how are the prompts, how you need to change it, etc. And this is perfect for starting. But if you have a workload that is latency sensitive, or that you need to have an answer in a specific time, you can use the permission throughput, where you're going to commit to a use for 1 to 6 months, and is measuring model units, that is MUs. Think about these model units of MUs as a part of a portion of the computational resources dedicated to your application. So it answers to the needs that you going to ask. Also, you can say like, hey, I don't want to have a commitment to 6 months or 1 month, but I want to have a hourly model unit. In this case, you're only going to have access to one model unit that you can use. So these are like the two things that you can have in this case for consuming. As just mentioned before, to recap, if it's prototyping POC or small workloads that is not latency sensitive, the recommendation is using on demand. If you have a workload that is latency sensitive, please, I recommend using provision throughput for this case. Finally, these are some links, QRs that you can take a photo to start using Amazon Bedrock, to see how it works, to check, to do these hands-on labs, and say, okay, this is a service that I will use to the use case because of the benefits that just Diego mentioned about just having one API and just consume this API, and I will have access to the different models. So that's it. Thank you for your time today. Now Thomas is going to explain the other part of the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Diego. Thank you for sharing that all knowledge about Amazon Bedrock. Now let me share my screen again. Can you see it, anyone? It's okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we are.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you. So now we are in the fourth part of the presentation, right? Where here we will show you how all the concepts that we mentioned before, the Generative AI, prompts, RAG, and Amazon Bedrock, how all of these topics bring us this new solution, a chatbot, or maybe other people call it as virtual assistant, is the same. But first, let's talk about the challenge that we received to implement this solution. In that moment, we need to create a solution that focuses in these four main areas. The first one, the conversational nature. The interaction with the chatbot should feel natural and human-like. Then the workflow and the understanding. The solution should manage different sales flows and promotion easily. Then the scalability. It needs to work well, even as the amount of work of machinery increases. And then the extensibility, obviously. The solution should be flexible and adaptable to different sales processes, whether business to business, B2B, or B2C, business to customer. Then here we have the architecture of this solution, and as you can see, we use different services from AWS, and in the core of the project we use the Amazon Bedrock, where with these services, and as Diego mentioned before, we only use one API. Then the one API interact with the foundational model directly. And in this case, for this virtual assistant, we use the model Titan from Anthropic. So now let's go over to the prerequisites for our project. The prerequisites were assessment Generative AI. Then we define the workflow, and then the source of information. In the assessment, this helps us to understand the use case and anticipate any potential issues. Then in the workflow, we need to know the steps of the chatbot that it should follow, and what actions to take if there are any problems in it. And then the source information, it's important to have a key data available. And in this part of the knowledge, you use this data available to train the part of the model. I mean, to train for example, to make the RAG, the retrieval augmented generation. So it's important to this data available to add into the knowledge base, into the RAG, into the retrieval augmented generation. Now let's discuss the development time. We split it into 4 sprints or 4 stages. We have divided the project into these 4 sprints. And the first one, the sprint 1, where in this stage is all about clarifying what the chatbot should do and how it should interact with the users. Then in the other sprint, we built the user interface and the backend system, while also organizing our data for the chatbot to use effectively. Then in the sprint 3, in the stage 3, we focuses on integrating the RAG model and refining how the chatbot processes and responds to queries. And finally, we test the chatbot. We made a full test of the chatbot, making necessary adjustments to ensure it works smoothly and better. Well, now we are ready to watch a demo of the assistant chatbot. This virtual assistant responds to your request by following the knowledge base containing and the all amount data that trained on this selected foundational model. And in this case, do you remember, is the Titan model from Anthropic. So let me put play in this demo. And as you can see, this is the chatbot. It's a simple interface where you can interact with the foundational model and the other services from AWS, but in a big way, in the big picture, you are using you're using the foundational model, the Amazon Bedrock, the services from Amazon Bedrock, and you ask something for example, in that case, I ask him, hi, what services do you offer? Then the project, the solution takes time to understand the question, to translate it, to understand what I need, and then the foundational model give us in the same interface the answer corresponding. Then I choose another simple question: what are your business hours? And it's the same example. The virtual assistant take the time to understand the question, and then answer us with the corresponding answer. Well, being saying that, we are ready to open the floor to questions. So I don't know if you have some question in the chat, and if you don't have it, feel free to ask anything about Generative AI, about Amazon Bedrock, or even in the demo that we just presented before. So this is time for you, people.
Thank you very much, Tomás, Diego. We haven't got any questions at the chat now.
Well, perfect. So in this case, I don't know if you want to know our emails, if you have any doubts, then after the presentation, obviously you can ask anything about Amazon Bedrock, obviously, Generative AI and the demo. Barbie, what do you think if we send our emails, and if anyone someone have a doubt after the session, can ask us? What do you think?
Yes, of course. Don't worry, everyone. We will have the presentation.
Perfect. So in this case, sorry, tell me.
No, there was one slide more. I think that we can tell them about some incentives. I don't know if you have it here. The one like the next steps we can go through here. I can share.
Okay, take the control.
So we have 30 minutes, and I wanna. Can you see my screen?
Not yet, but now yes. Now it is.
Yes. Okay. So I think the webinar was really really great. We go through a lot of topics, and maybe I think you may be thinking for yourself and for your business, how can you apply all of this and how will make sense for your business to try some of these services. So we encourage you to keep on discovering these solutions. We are here with the team of AWS and CloudHesive. We work side to side, and we encourage you to work with us in discovering how these solutions can make sense to you. So we have like different ways we can assist. We can get started with a kind of a discovery session with the CloudHesive and AWS team to understand your use case, your business case, and to work on something that makes sense and a scenario that makes sense to you to test some of these solutions. There are some incentives like a proof of concept where we can test this in a very specific scenario that makes sense to you so that you can get more insights of how these new technologies can help your business. And we are going to keep on doing these kind of demo days, workshops, training sessions where we can schedule some time and maybe do it more personalized and more customized with your main pain points, understanding how we can get value or key drivers that make your business grow and make the sense that you are expecting for this kind of solution. So just for clothing, I was willing to say that, to encourage you to respond the email Barbie is going to send or marketing is going to send with Tomas contacts. My contact, I think, will be Diego Rangel and Juan Diego. I mean, we encourage you to there are no bad questions. There are not missing time. So we can schedule a half an hour, 1 hour, just go deeper into your use case and understand how can we help your business. So feel free to reach out at any time.